Hey guys, James T here. Welcome to my vlog. I'm just in the backyard looking around my apple tree here. This was a bit of a surprise when we moved in. We've got some apples on the way. That's pretty cool, right? And just wanted to lead in. We've got an interview today with a friend of mine. Her name's Christy. She is a Reiki practitioner, and we're going to find out some details of just how that works, what it is, what it isn't, and what to do if you're interested in it. All right, let's jump right into that. And remember, if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, if you want to hear more, you have suggestions, subscribe, that big red button down there, punch that button, give me a thumbs up, and let me know. Hi guys, welcome to the vlog. I'm here with Christy McKinley. This is a good friend of mine. She is a Reiki practitioner, and we're going to be talking about that practice here. And I know I've got a few questions I want to ask her, but we've known each other for a while, and we've gone to the same church, and I have not experienced it firsthand. I could probably use it. We'll find out here when we find out a little bit more about it. So, Christy, can you tell me a little bit, like, define Reiki for me?
Well, Reiki is just a form of energy healing. It's non-invasive. Oftentimes, a lot of people prefer it to massage, especially in cases of if they have experienced physical abuse, if they have fibromyalgia, or if they're just not really down with being touched. And for a lot of people, it's a really nice first step in figuring out kind of how they want to take care of themselves and take a little bit more charge of their care.
Okay, okay. In the practice, what exactly is being manipulated or changed or adjusted? You know, in a chiropractor, you're messing with muscles and bone alignment and tendons and stuff like that. In Reiki, exactly what are you adjusting?
In Reiki, is basically clearing the energy field of any kind of, I guess, for lack of a better word, irregularities. Lots of times, if we are kind of preoccupied with something and it's kind of weighing us down, emotionally it starts to kind of cause some issues, and then physiologically things start to happen. Like when we get stressed out about some a severe trauma, you know, physiologically it taxes your brain, your liver, and your kidneys, and your heart. And so with Reiki, the energy just kind of allows whatever's coming up to gently come up to where you can address it, either just in becoming aware of it, or maybe you realize, wow, I should maybe talk to a therapist, or, you know, maybe something a little bit more. But at least it's a really good first step, and it's a really great complement to just any kind of conventional medicine, or just if you wanted some other kind of energy modality. Okay, okay. How did you first get started? Well, what was your first experience, and then what started you as like a practitioner, not just a patient? I guess I'd always kind of been kind of curious about it. I'd kind of heard about it and was just kind of like, I wonder what this is about. I have received it from several different people, and it's different each time, and each practitioner it's different. A friend of mine who is a teacher just asked me one day, hey, do you want to learn Reiki? And something that is basically the equivalent of a calling, like, said, you know, because yes, I wasn't really consumed with any kind of fear of like, oh, what's going to happen to me. It was just this kind of calm of like, yes, go learn Reiki. And I learned level 1, and 3 months later I achieved level 2, and then 3 or 4 years later I became a master teacher. Okay. So yeah.
Awesome. Now, what's the difference between level 1, level 2, and say level 3, like a master?
Yeah. So in my tradition, level 1 is you're just working on you physically. You might you might offer Reiki to like your animals or your plants or whatever. Level 2 is more emotional. It deals, specifically kind of with addictions. And master teacher level is I just have the I'm able to offer and to teach Reiki to others so that they can become Reiki practitioners.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, in a typical situation, in a typical day, if someone says, I'm feeling anxious and upset, and I've got these 3 life-changing events, divorce or death or whatever, these things, and my emotions are on my sleeve all the time, and this tension never goes away. Right? What would be the first step in offering that person some help?
Okay, probably starting first off, whether or not they choose to book a session with me, I would encourage them to do some self-care, like just try to remember the things that make them happy, whether it's just going out and working in the garden, going for a walk, some things that maybe they can take on to do themselves. And then after a time, if they're like, this is sort of working or this is really not working, then I would probably have them book a session with me. And then like the first one, we just kind of talk about what's going on with them and just talk about, and then during the session, I just kind of focus on those particular issues. So like, for example, what tends to happen if someone is going to the next level in their life, whether it's like in business or maybe wanting for a promotion or a new job, what tends to manifest physically is like knee issues, and that's kind of related to moving forward. So during the session, I would start at the crown, at the top of the head, but then I would definitely make sure that I would address the knees.
Okay.
And how I was trained, I would start at the top of the head, which is the crown, the third eye, the throat chakra, heart, solar plexus, sacral, and roots, and then ground at the feet. And a typical session's about an hour or so, just give or take, and usually just to kind of encourage them just to kind of just have a chill rest of the day if they can. Take a really grounding salt bath or a foot soak, and just try and just because over the next couple of days, the next week, lots of old stories come up, things we'd forgotten about. I remember when I became level 2 and dealing with all the emotional stuff. I mean, I was working through some really strong addiction stuff, and at the time before I went to sleep one night, I was just like, help me with this, because I just needed some kind of strong signal or lesson or sign that I was I was receiving some kind of intervention. And I had a dream about my grandmother, and by the time I woke up, I had no desire at all to engage in any addictions. And this included like popcorn, which I asked my mom about that. She's like, yeah, when you were a kid, I would pop popcorn for you and your sister before we went to bed. So I knew for me it was this nostalgia kind of comfort thing. And now it just kind of changes it helps me become aware of, okay, if I'm doing this thing, why am I doing it? It just makes my awareness, for good or for bad, has just become so heightened in so many ways. And it continues to be a really beautiful, responsibility filled gift. And it's, I don't know, every day is amazing. I'm always learning new things.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Now with those treatments, like your personal experience, it almost sounds like a philosophy of mindfulness, right? And holistic treatments, not just going to the doctor when you're sick. You go to the doctor for checkups, when something happens.
Yeah.
So are you connected to like a holistic medicine in any way in Chattanooga?
Not really. I love collaboration. I know that me being me with all of my experiences, I have like a narrow scope of genius in what I can do. So I love like, hey, I really feel like I can't help you in this way, or I feel like you need to speak to someone else about this other aspect of what's going on with you. And that's a really wonderful thing about Chattanooga. It's just small enough to where enough people that you can help in that way. So I am not tied with any particular group, but I love collaboration. I love mental health, especially with everything we've been talking about that's been going on this week. Is just near and dear to my heart because I would love in a perfect world for like suicide not to exist at all. But if I can help as many people as I can realize the spark within themselves to want to stay a little bit longer on this side. Yes.
What Christy's referring to is just this morning we heard about Anthony Bourdain, an apparent suicide. Where was he?
France. I think.
Was he in France?
I think he was in France.
Which is really weird because he was on a job. And he was all excited about his job.
Yeah.
And wasn't it earlier this week another
Kate Spade.
Kate Spade hung herself.
I think the Queen of Netherlands. It was a royalty. Her younger sister was found dead in her apartment.
Wow.
So yeah, and I mean, I one of the things I really dug, or I don't know, tenses with about Anthony Bourdain. He was very like open and like he shared about his demons, which I totally get that. I mean, we all have those days where it feels like your demons are breathing right there on your face. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, what? And then I'm still feeling my feels about it, but I was like, okay, what can I do to like just say, please stay, you know? I was like, I know it's ultimately their choice, but it's like, you know, there's so many creative, beautiful souls that leave too soon. I mean, and you know, you and I've worked in like mental health, and we, I know we get it that it's much more than a 4-minute soundbite or when something tragic happens. But it's just like, if we just start those conversations, and then everybody, the whole entire village, get in on the conversation. Imagine, you know, how many we can save. Yeah,
because there is, one of the primary reasons for suicide is disconnection. Yeah. So many people get disconnected. They don't feel connected to their environment, their friends, their family, the social institutions that they, you know, like church and that kind of thing. And they lose those connections and they feel, why am I doing this? Why am I here? Yeah. And then they give up.
Yeah, and then also, I think part of that is like the conversations that they are hearing, whether it's actually in person or online, about still the stigma around mental health and how, and like certain groups, how they feel about mental health, and how if you grow up in that environment, hearing that you know, how dare you ask for help? You are flawed if you ask for help. You know, what gives you that right to ask for help? Is like we are loving children of this earth, and we are flawed in our own beautiful, imperfectly perfect ways. I mean, I think I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, you know what, I have no qualms at all. Being like, you know what, I need help. Some days I have those days where I am not your quintessential Reiki practitioner, and I own it, and I kind of like, okay, I'm having a butthead day. You know, it's like I'm being a jerk right now, and I'm going to own it. I'm going to be like a butthead, and then I laugh it off, and it's all right. Yeah. So,
well, it's okay to give yourself permission to be a butthead, because sometimes, you know, like Eileen says, sometimes you have to strike back, because you can't always be a victim. You can't always be the butt of someone else's wrath or whatever. Sometimes you have to strike back because it's self-preservation, right? So it's okay to be a butthead sometimes. You know, it happens. You know, no one's perfect all the time.
Exactly.
Right? What was it? We were talking about suicide and that kind of thing. It's like groups near and dear to my heart are veterans, because I'm a veteran. I have 2 brothers that are veterans. My father is a veteran. And, you know, I know so many veterans in my classes, that kind of thing, that just, I see the turmoil in their lives. They're young men, you know, 24, 25 years old. And there's a statistic that we've been tossing around so much that's so true, but it's intense. 22 veterans a day kill themselves in suicide. And it's just one of those horrible things that, you know, it just plagues our society, and we have to admit that sometimes we need help, no matter who you are, right? And thankfully, folks like you are willing to help, right? So, if someone's interested in Reiki, or they're looking to get treatment or maybe talk to you or someone else, how would they go about that?
Well, you can start at my website just to find out more about me. It's mckinleycoaching.com.
Okay, and I'll put that in the little thing too.
Yeah. And then also, if you're curious more about Reiki, you go to reiki.org. And I also mentioned their sister site, christianreiki.org. I've talked to a lot of people that have really, they're really uncomfortable about, being, receiving Reiki. And a lot of the people that I work with, just, whatever they practice, end up being, more, connected spiritually to their beliefs. And then I'm learning a little bit more about, or embracing more quantum physics, because my husband was telling me about an article he came across about how they're talking about, hey, he was just it's so weird, they're talking about now, it's something over here, affects something over here, and I'm like, that's Reiki, that's prayers, that's sending somebody good thoughts, lighting a candle for them. And so I'm kind of curious about that, because I have some ideas that I've been kind of jotting down around that. So Reiki, I think, can kind of appeal to a whole wide range of belief systems. So reiki.org, Christian Reiki, quantum physics,
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Christy, I appreciate it.
No problem.
It's been educational.
Oh, thanks.
And I've really, really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
And, one of these days I'm going to have to book a session with you.
Okay.
Just to see if it helps me balance my life.
Okay.
Because, we all go through turmoil.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, guys. If you enjoyed anything on this video, if you've gotten anything out of it, click the like button. Give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button so every time you hit the little bell on there, so when the next video is coming out. So we'll see you next time. Have a good life.